Hey Aurora, it's me, Keith. Today I wanted to comment on some remarks that my opponent Ron Warman made on his Facebook page last Wednesday evening. In this post, Alderman Warman is commenting on the objections that were filed by my friend Salak against Ariana Dahlman, who also filed to be on the ballot for the race of Alderman at Large. Now, I want to be totally transparent and explain what the objection was, why the objections were filed, and why they are different from the objections that were filed against the three mayoral candidates that I've talked about a lot already. So Alderman Warman points out that Salak is an ally of both me and John Lash, and he proves this by stating that Salak and John both circulated my petitions, and Salak and I both circulated petitions for John. And you know what? That is completely true. I want John Lash to be our next mayor. John supports me, and Salak supports both of us. I don't think anyone's trying to hide that. So while Ron Warman claims that it is unethical for a circulator of me and John to file objections against another candidate, he seems to be awfully quiet about one of his own circulators filing multiple nonsensical objections against other candidates. So if you look here, you'll see the three objections against the mayoral candidates, Jasmine Garcia, Karina Garcia, and John Lash, and they were all filed by Tara Loza. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that name incorrectly. And if you look here at these petition sheets, you'll see that petitions for both Richard Irvin and Ron Warman were circulated by the same person, Ms. Loza. So if you've been following the objection hearings, you will know that all but one of these objections were thrown out by the Electoral Board because they're baseless, and the one that stuck is a technicality on the Statement of Economic Interest submitted by Karina Garcia, and I'm going to be making a separate video about that in the near future. One of the things Ron Warman said that I do agree with is that Ariana Dahlman is a hard worker. I didn't hear about Ariana until I had already been collecting signatures for myself for a few weeks, and I started collecting signatures pretty late in the game, and I didn't meet her until I had already filed to be on the ballot. I think Ariana and I have a lot of common beliefs, and if she had started running before me, I think it's likely that I would have supported her rather than running myself. After the end of the filing period, my friends and I looked at both the petitions of Ron Warman and Ariana Dahlman. Unfortunately, we didn't find any valid objections against Ron Warman's petitions. However, we did find valid objections against Ariana's petitions. So if you look at the results of the records examinations that were done at the county clerk's offices, you'll see that 473 of the signatures were valid and 542 were required to be on the ballot. So as you can see, this was a valid objection, unlike the objections filed by the circulator for Ron Warman and Richard Irvin, which was only done to wrongly knock candidates off the ballot or make them waste campaign funds on legal fees fighting these frivolous objections. Now that is what I would call unethical. Like most elections in the United States, Aurora uses a winner-takes-all electoral system. So this means that in a race of 3 or more people running for the same seat, the winner can receive significantly less than 50% of the vote, and in some cases even have over 50% of the voters opposed to that candidate. I think this is undemocratic compared to other voting systems such as ranked choice voting. For the same reasons that Richard Irvin would benefit from a 3 or 4 person race without a primary, Ron Warman would benefit from a 3-person election because he would only need 34% of the vote to win rather than 51% of the vote in a one-on-one race. So if Ariana and I both stay on the ballot, it's possible that the majority of voters want to vote against Ron Warman and prevent him from having a second term, but end up splitting the vote evenly enough between me and Ariana that Ron Warman wins anyway. This is what I want to avoid, and this would not be a problem if we had ranked choice voting. Ron Warman finishes his Facebook post by saying, "Community leaders should focus on uplifting the community they serve, not wasting the time of the voters with ridiculous distractions." And I completely agree, but the only party that is guilty of wasting the voters' time with ridiculous distractions here is the Irvin machine, which filed these sham objections against Jasmine, Karina, and John. And Ron Warman most certainly is a part of that Irvin machine. One major difference between me and the Ron Warman and Richard Irvin machine is that when we don't find any valid reasons to object, we don't file any objections. Otherwise, we would have objected to Ron Warman's petitions. This is exactly why I'm fighting against this machine and why I intend on winning fair and square without any frivolous objections needed. With all that being said, I want to say that I have nothing against Ariana and I wish her the best of luck, and I imagine I'll probably be supporting her in the future. But until then, I will continue fighting against this machine. I also want to thank everyone for all of your support and wish you happy holidays. Bye.